Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Sky Lila Experience. Today we have Melissa Russel Robson, who's a multiple business owner living in Sydney, Australia. Hey, Mel, how are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm so well, thank you. It's so nice to have you on here.
Thank you so much for having me. What a pleasure, hey? We finally did it. I know we've been chatting about it, but we're
I know,
here.
almost a year. So I met Mel, I think in 2018 at Fitness First as a trainer, and you were leading my training. And then we had a whole relationship after that. And I've been watching you grow. So I brought her on today because I just wanted to get to know Mel. Like, you do so much with businesses, family, just life in general. Can you tell me, like, how do you balance it just on a day to day? And then we'll get into the details. But what are you considering when you're like juggling everything?
Honestly, I just get it done. I think first things first is I always try and I guess look after me, and it's either a training session, and then making sure that I have energy, so my supplements, and then whatever's on the agenda. So if I'm at the gym or if I've got other like Zoom calls or if I'm at another gym, so just training first, and then whatever the calendar's locked in for the week is how I balance it all. Kid wise, it's just, I guess I'm so used to it. I don't know, I've been doing it for so long. It just
Mhm.
happens, right? I just have this, everything works.
Yeah. So can you take me back a little bit? I guess maybe from your entrepreneur journey, or I mean, I know way back, but what do you think is necessary of like when life started to get pretty intense and you're like, okay, this is on me, and you created this life that you have?
I think when I was working at Fitness First, we met, and I didn't have the entrepreneur, like I wasn't running as many businesses then. I think it just got to a point where it's like this lifestyle isn't for me because it wasn't more family balance and I couldn't dictate my days. So I think for me, I didn't like, it's not like working for somebody else, but having the fact that I had to rush my kids to school to get to work for someone else on time. That's what probably was my breaking point. I was like, you know what? This is not my jam, and I need to create something or work towards something where I can, have my own schedule.
Right. So then what first business did you start or start working towards?
I started my Arbonne business in 2016. I was
Yeah.
working three jobs then. So I started then in 2016 working three jobs, and I was a solo mum of two back then. So life was hectic. I definitely didn't have any more time to create more money. I was pretty broke back then. But I saw this opportunity. I actually saw others in front of me live the lifestyle that I wanted. And I think that's what attracted to me. Like, I didn't know if it was possible for me, but I thought if she could do it, why can't I have that? And I was really after the lifestyle that she was living versus my, I guess, rat race of me running, like running around with a head with no head on. That's how I felt life was back then.
Yeah. So what then did you start to get into order? Like, how did you navigate balancing it? Or was there something that you had to sacrifice at the beginning? Or were you able to maintain everything still? Because I feel like you've got it right
Um,
now, but
I think, with anything, like starting something new, it's like obviously I didn't start very consistent, and like you have to be very automated, I guess, like turn up to trainings and make sure that you don't have dinners on trainings and kind of create that lifestyle to your calendar. Um, and I felt like at first it was very messy. So, but what I found is to create the success, you had to be really organized. I think it's probably, like to make sure that you were organized. Um, yeah. Did that answer your question? I actually forgot what your question
yeah,
was.
no, that's okay. I just try to dive into your mind of like, because I think I have, so many new entrepreneurs in my world now, and I've been doing it for a while. So you almost sort of forget, though, been hearing people say, do you have to sacrifice everything, or is it different now where you don't have to sacrifice and you can balance it a bit more? And it's like, I do know in the past, most people are like, yeah, you gotta just focus on the business and like cancel everything out. And it's like, well, is there another way, or is that really kind of how you build the life that you have? Do you have to go through that stage?
Yeah, you do. Like, for example, as I just said, so there's like, you got your weekly skills training, whatever, but it's about remembering that they're on. So scheduling them in and making sure that you turn up for them, because they're that build your confidence, like turning up to any training or skill. It builds your confidence more than anything into being able to be an entrepreneur, right? So when you lock yourself into that, you're like, right. And then you'll start to build and get better and create success. But if you miss that, you kind of stay stagnant and he's like in the same spot. So the answer is yes, you do, in some way. Like, if there's trainings or upskilling that you need to make sure that you dedicate your time to get better, whether it be scheduling your posts or whatever, like you need to make sure you do that, because that will build your confidence, which will create your success. That's what I believe anyway.
Thank you. Okay, so just about you now with your health, how do you
Yeah.
maintain what are the details behind your health routine so that you can maintain this peak performance that you do day to day? Like, what is your diet, your training, that type of stuff look like?
Yeah, good question. I obviously being in the health industry, I actually thought I was pretty healthy.
Mm.
But I think sometimes we have this misconception that we think, I believe I thought I was. But now I look at who I am to versus who I was probably to when I met you. I'm a completely different version.
Mhm.
And maybe that's less partying. Maybe that's less, not less socializing, but less, eating out. I find the best foods that you can get is creating your own food in the kitchen.
Mm.
I will come home from wherever I'm at and I'll make lunch versus going out and buying a salad. I have a routine every day that I'll either, fast for 12 to 14 hours. I will, break my fast with a protein drink. And then I have my supplements. Like I have this little morning routine that I have every day, my greens, my gut health, and my proteins. And in regards to training and moving my body, it's very different to how I was when I met you. I would do lots of high intensity stuff, and it would be very, I guess, bigger weight loss based, but now I just do it to move. And I find it's less stress on my body. Obviously, I'm much older now as well. So I moving my body is a non-negotiable. It's like I go to bed at a reasonable time and I just get up and I just do something, whether it be a run or I go to the gym or Pilates. I'm always doing something because I feel like that's what sets me up for success. The earlier I do it, the more time in the day that I have, and I loved that as well. So that's kind of my routine. I always get up and I move my body. I do, when I put my feet on the ground, my first things that I do is I thank the Lord. I thank the Lord for another day, for another breath, and I think that's really important too. Is to like, sometimes you can grab your phone and turn your alarm off, and you can scroll, but I try and be very mindful of that. Is like to just be thankful for that breath. I feel like that's something that I've learnt, in the past few years, is to just be mindful. Like today's a blessing, right? Like I've lost, my brother and my sister in, matters of 3 years. And I just think like I get to breathe here, right now. So that's really important to me, having that mindfulness moment. And it's not even 30 seconds, it's 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And I move my body and yeah, I try and eat really well.
Wow. So side note from the health, but it sounds like you have a big spiritual practice towards everyday too, almost perspective, I guess, of like, thank you for today. And I have that too. It's like, whew.
I think, like I'm so busy and I can be so constructed by my phone because obviously I've got so many, I run 2 to 3 businesses on my phone. And I feel that if I don't have that less than 30 seconds, I could be on my phone all day and I kind of just miss that moment. And I just have to just thank you for it. Thank you for today. I'm breathing, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I just feel like if I only have that, I feel good, even if I don't get to meditate or I don't get to write out my vision and my journaling and stuff. I have that, and I know that I can be okay. If that makes sense. I'm still okay, but yeah.
Yeah. No, 100%. Thank you. How often do you do, I don't know, I call it like spiritual practice or mental health, but like your journaling, your visualizing, what does that routine look like? Is it like annually, quarterly, daily?
I try and write my vision out daily. It's not daily consistently. I would
Mhm.
say I'll get out 4 out of 7 days. And I just that's something that I'm pretty more consistent at. Yeah, I have my vision board. I have a vision board in my bathroom. I get affirmations on my phone. I do a lot of belly breathing as well when I feel out of alignment, and I do a lot of that during the day. Like if I feel like I'm a bit out of alignment, I kind of just breathe in through the belly. But my visualization is I write and journal. I'd like to do more, but sometimes my day gets away from me. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. Okay, thanks. Oh, so many questions. How do you navigate? We'll come back to business in a bit, but just while we're kind of on the home life, your family, I know I just see it from online, but from online, you all seem so happy. So I presume the majority of it is probably true, but it's like I can feel the love through the
Yeah.
screen, and it's so beautiful. And I think that is a huge factor of success. And like, yes, you can do really well in your business, but to cultivate that kind of family life and do everything else, what do you value? Like, how do you actually implement it?
Um, I think because they're so far apart, so I've got 21, 13, and 4.
Hmm.
They kind of like I make them look after each other, so that kind of creates that bond. Um, I think is where I'm lucky versus where they're all just fighting. They do fight all the time, don't get me wrong. But I feel like they have a bond where they can go and hang out and have ice cream and play games together. And I think that's it. It not only doesn't it's good for them, but it actually helps me out. To be honest, I
Yeah.
think that's probably how we've created that is that it's helped me out. But it hasn't always been like that. Not too long ago, me and my son were having this like I guess distance, and we had to have a bring. I call it bring it to the table, and we had to bring it to the table, and he had to bring out his feelings, and it was a lot of stuff. I think as a mum and a young mum that he felt like he had no say. So I had to. It was hard for me to listen to, but it was good. It was something that we needed, and it brought us even closer after that because then it gave him that space, the table to speak his feelings. And I think we've grown closer since that moment. And that was probably about 2 years ago where we've just come together and we all have this space that I call at the table that you can speak your space because my kids tell me I'm very emotional when I talk, so they
Yeah.
kind of get thrown. But when we have the table, they're allowed to not, yeah.
Right, right. Oh, I love that. I think you're just passionate and you can feel
That's my word. I'm like, I'm just passionate. And they're like, well, why are you screaming? I'm like, I'm just passionate about how I feel right now. I'm like, I'm
yeah.
not angry, I promise. I'm just telling you. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
my exact words. I'm just passionate. I'm not angry right now, but I'm just passionate.
No, I can see that because I feel your passion, but I can understand where they're coming from. If you're almost too close, you can get mixed in the passion and not know like not see if it's yours or whose it is.
And they think that I'm having like anger. I'm like, I'm not angry. I'm just like passionate about this. Like, let's go. Let's do this. Or like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's I think how you get everything done. You're just like you take action, let's deal with this, let's move
Yes.
forward.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
totally.
Are there specific like I guess you guys are still quite a home family, so you don't have like a routine around it, but are there kind of weekly or some like non-negotiables that just or is it just in the flow?
In the flow.
Okay.
If I feel like we haven't had time, because my TJ, my eldest, he goes to the gym a lot, generally at dinner time. So if he hasn't been home at when we sit down, I'm like, be home, like kind of, I bring it back in. But yeah, dinner
Okay.
time's mainly that like time where we sit and chat and have that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Okay,
Hmm.
thanks. I just love hearing about that because I think a lot of people you value family and then you really focus on business and then the family kind of happens and then it's almost too late. So it's like I really want to touch on that aspect of like that is a priority to juggle while you're building everything else. And I know you've already built it, but
100%. Yeah.
so then what does your day-to-day work routine look like? How do you successfully juggle these things? Like what are the things that you do that just happen? that keep it going, keep it all running?
Where am I at? Depends where I'm going for the day. Okay, so let's say I'm at the gym.
Yeah.
It just depends, to be honest. Like I have like obviously I look at it in sections in my head, and I think this is how my brain works. I'm like, okay, so here's my section of my gym. I make sure that, I run the whole back end and sales and operations and marketing. So I make sure everything that bucket is filled up. And then I'll have my Arbonne business. So I'll make sure that that needs to get attended to daily, like, whether it be the reach outs, the follow ups with my clients, where my business is sitting, where my team is sitting, building new businesses, etc. And I focus on buckets, and depending on if I'm at the gym first, that goes first, or if I'm working from home, that will kind of go first, and then I'll kind of trickle through the day. I kind of follow by my diary, and I just write to-do lists on what's important, what's coming up. I've got a Pilates retreat coming up soon, so focusing on that stuff as well, making sure that I've got full numbers, so that goes in another pocket. And then I've got another business idea that I spruing on the end, so I'm doing like vision boards and marketing there. So I'm a bit of a multitasker. So if you saw my tabs, I've got 700 tabs open, but I really try and get it all out on paper and just go in buckets and fill out buckets and try and tick all my buckets off. And it honestly depends on where I'm at for the day. So if I've got to open the gym, I'm at the gym. If I'm at home, I'll do home stuff, or if I've got swimming lessons, I'll do, family stuff and stuff first. Just depends.
Yeah. So that's a good point, because I think a lot of people are almost want to be entrepreneurs, get stuck with it's not that they don't know what to do, it's that they have so many things they want to do, and how to narrow it down, but then also still keep that. So I feel like you're balancing a few pretty
I
strongly.
really want to buy Spider-Man.
Bring it here. Bring it here.
He's
It won't go dead. Yes. Sorry. Yeah, go on.
No, that's okay. I was just gonna say, so then if you're looking over a week, it's like,
Spider-Man.
how does the week
Spider-Man.
Sorry. Go. Quickly got it up.
do your thing?
Spider-Man.
Which one?
That one. Oh,
Doesn't work. Go on. Yes.
I
don't know. Go see TJ. I think the game might be working. Sorry.
Don't be sorry, it's precious. Just how do you mentally create space, I guess, and shift from each thing? Like, does physically being in a different space help? Or when you're doing your life admin, how do you categorize the different businesses without getting overwhelmed and like,
I'm a massive, I visualize blocks. Like I have I just have these to-do lists, and they're my things that I need to get done. I tick them off. Sometimes I do crossovers in the same time space. But when I'm sitting down, I'll just go focus on what I need to get focused on, and I tick it off. I think the biggest thing is if you're a list writer, I'm a list writer. I like to write it out. I have to get it out of my head and write it all down. I think the biggest thing, and trying to get everything done as an entrepreneur is like being overwhelmed, is like, it's okay if you don't get it all done. And I think, because when you don't get it all done, you're like, I'm not going to do anything the next day, and it kind of puts you back. You just do what you can. And I think that's just my motto. I'm like, right, these are the things that I want to do. If I need to do something really now, I'll get it done now. This is what I should have done yesterday. I'm going to do it now. But I just focus on importance of where my business is. For the gym, for example, our focus right now is growing and working on our old database. So that's my focus, and what am I doing every day to create that, to bring that in. For my Arbonne business, it's like I want to, build new entrepreneur women. Where can I find these women? And that's my focus there. Right. So I know what my goals, my visions are set for each month, and I just focus on that. Life admin is just a to-do list. I'm just a to-do list. Like, write it out, what bills need to be paid, like tick that off, here I am.
Yeah.
And using my calendar a lot.
Right. So you really chunk it out as if it's like, just this is it. You don't get pulled into say Arbonne when you're doing that. So you can kind of divide it a bit in your mind when you block it out.
I try my best, but my ADHD brain doesn't always. It does jump. Yeah. But if I look back, I'm like, right, this is where I was meant to be. And it kind of keeps me focused, because if I do jump, I'm like, oh, that looks pretty over there. I'll go, right, Mel, you need to finish this task because you really wanted to get this done today.
Right.
And then I'll, make sure they'll look at what else have I got to get done today. Right, I've only got time to do these 3 things today. Let's do that.
Yeah. Thank you. Do you use a Google Calendar? Like, what's the actual physical tools that you use? Are they color coordinated? How does that execution happen?
I'm such a pen to paper girl. Like, I love to, write notes, draw. I'm like, I've got a diary. Everything's in the diary first. So I plan my day, I plan my weeks, I write it all out. And then in regards to appointments, I do have to have a calendar to get prompted and reminded, like, this kind of thing, and kids stuff, and anything that's due. But most of my stuff is pen to paper, and I'll try and plan the whole week out where I want to be or what I need to do. And then, I'll just check on it each day. I normally sit with it open in front of me each day anyway. So, and just go through that or add anything in that needs to be done.
Mhm.
Second.
I think, so many people, they go, I want to be organized, but then get stuck if you're not an organized person, like literally, what do you do? That's why I love to be like, what do you do? How many colors, how many highlighters? Because for me, it makes sense. I'm organized, but I just like to get into the details of that.
I was never organized, and I feel like it's something, again, like you have to, it's creating a skill. Like for me, I'm like, I would miss appointments, these kind of things. So I found, like, if it's in my calendar, I've got a 90% chance of turning up versus it's not in my calendar. So I really work hard on, because I've actually found myself proud of, like, I hate missing a laser appointment. Like, I feel so bad if I miss a beautician appointment. I would hate that to happen to me. So I hate that. So I try really hard to have it in my calendar and not forget, and trying to have, but that's something that I've worked on. I haven't always been like that. It's definitely not something that my son now, he's 21. He's like, I've got to put everything in my diary. I wasn't at 21 putting anything in my diary.
Right.
I was just like fly by the whims of my parents. So it's
Right.
a skill that I find, if you get really good on, like, setting time aside on the Sundays, like, right, where do I want to do this week? What's my intention? What are my goals? What goals that I want to achieve and work towards? I find that really sets me up. But yeah, that's a skill that I've had to learn. Like, it's not always, and being consistent at that. I used to have some weeks I'm really good at, some weeks I'm like, what have I got on today? So yeah.
Fair. Do you find when you do the big picture, I find it's a lot of like zooming in and zooming out. Do you have a schedule around how often you zoom out and how often you maybe like check in with yourself, and what does that routine look like for you?
I don't have a schedule, no.
Like, you do like, at the beginning of the year, map out the year and then check in. Like, those things to you might not seem like it, but to somebody who doesn't, that's what I mean. Like, that's something.
Yeah. So I do it at, obviously, the beginning of the year, and to be honest, I do it when I'm not. Every month I do it. I need to set a goal for me. Like, I need to know how many people I want to meet, how many people I want in my business. Like, I need to have that number, because I'm very. What do you want?
Behind me. On our airplane day.
Okay. I'm very goal driven like that. Like, I like to see it.
Yeah.
But to be honest, like, big visions and stuff, I kind of feel like if I feel out of alignment, if I don't feel like I've got where I know where I'm going, I kind of sit back down, and, like, I think I did one not too long ago where I printed out people that I wanted to bring in my life. So I went and printed. Which one do you want? I printed out all women that I wanted in my life, like their attributes, who they are, what do they do. And I put them on a vision board, and I got it printed, and one's in my bathroom and one's in my wall. So I see these women, and I'm like, these are the attributes. They're hardworking, they're dedicated, they're passionate. So that's what I do.
This one.
When I'm not aligned, I reset. I just honestly just go on my gut. I don't have a schedule as such.
But that is, you are, I guess you intuitively do it on a monthly basis. That's what I wonder. Is it like, how often do you sort of go, okay, these are my goals for whatever it is. So you do sort of set a tangible goal for the month in your business.
Yeah, I definitely, sorry, let me just do this one sec.
Yeah, no rush. Take your time.
Yay. Yeah. No. Go see Sissy. Go. Yeah, I do. I always set like every month. I do post-it notes, how many people I want to help. I do that every month. I find it keeps me on track because I have had months where I don't do it, and I feel like I have no drive.
Yeah. What are you doing? Even though you know what you're doing, but if you don't see it right in front of your face, you're like, I
If I
don't.
know what I'm doing, it's the same thing. It's the same thing, but I just feel like for me, I'm a ticker. Like, let's tick it off.
Yeah.
To-do list, like pulling it off the post-it note or knowing what I'm doing. Yeah.
Yeah. How often do you plan, say, an adventure or time away from all of this? Or do you take time? What does that look like in your life?
Good question. Probably, you know what? Again, when I'm feeling, there's two things that I do. One, I'll just veg out to the Netflix and I'll be like, I'm laying on the couch, don't care how much work, I'm just going to veg out and watch a whole series. Like I go all out.
Yeah.
Or if it's hot, I'll just go to the beach and just lay like a sloth and just get burnt like a crisp and dive in and out of the water. They're my two things when I'm feeling like I just need to chill. I feel like I'm not getting anywhere. Everything's just like circling. Nothing's being creative, and I just go and do those things. They're my two things. I Netflix and chill, literally, or I go and lay my bikini.
Like a
They're my
sloth.
two favorite things, really. Yeah.
I love that. Well, I noticed that living in Australia, it was a much more sort of balanced life, even just to begin with, as opposed to North America, because you work and then you go to outside. We're in Canada, like you don't really go outside that much throughout the winter unless you're going skiing. So it's a lot more like work, and then you take 3 weeks off as opposed to just sort of having that time integrated to begin with, which I found was interesting.
Yeah, okay, interesting. I don't get out much though. I'm not
I
gonna
mean,
lie.
I just feel like I don't know, it was different where I'm like, whoa, this is a good life over here. Like this is nice.
Yeah, I suppose, and it's not that cold really. Like today is a beautiful day out there, so it is nice to get out.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So you've been a leader for a really long time. How do you lead? Like you've been a leader really you might not see it, I don't know, but you've been a leader in every aspect of your life for I feel like a really long time. Are you even aware of that, or like do you per how do you do it? Or is it just you?
Funny. Maybe it's just me. Like I think obviously you fine tune your skills, you become more patient. And obviously I was a mum at 18, so you kind of that's how you even backtrack. When my dad died at 13, my brother was left to me to raise. So I kind of like, was I leading then? Like that was kind of like, I guess, my experience, and I felt like I had to lead the way then. Yeah, I guess I just do. And I think I do things to help, like I go first to help other people. I think I don't know, that's what a leader is, right? Like you just do things and you lead the way and you like hope others can follow you, or you can inspire you to do the same, and you uplift people to let them do it themselves as well.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's something that I see from you in everything that you do from the beginning. But I guess it is a bit of like personality and your environment from such a young age, which I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And you can always be a better leader. Like, like I guess the biggest thing in my album business is you have to be a great leader. Like, to lead to the top 1% of the company, you have to be able to, have a team and lead a team. And obviously you have to work on those fine-tuned leadership skills, as like how you talk to people and how you can inspire and how you can get the best out of people. And I think there are so many people, obviously, that are all different. So you have to be able to lead in different ways, right? To suit that person. You can't just have one leadership skill or style that will be suited for everybody. And I think that's something that you have to learn when you become a leader as well.
How do you do that? Like is it a conscious decision of like, okay, I've got to communicate in this way, or are you just so in the flow you're not really aware of like how you speak to different people? What are
Yeah,
challenges almost with that?
It's you know what's the hardest thing for me, I think, as a leader is I can see your true potential, but you sit there and hide, and I just want to shake you out. I'm just like, and for me, that's my challenge. How do I get you from sitting behind, hiding, to coming out and flourishing? And that's something that I work on every day is like, how can I bring the best out? And some people it's easier than others. Some people sit behind and just wait, and I just want you to flourish, like just step up, just step into that.
Mhm.
And learning from other people, my leaders in front of me, because I get very frustrated. I'm like, I just wish they would, step up because they've got it. And it's just like loving people for where they're at and just leading the way. Like that's all you can do, right? I can't make anyone do it. And I think that's probably my biggest downfall is I try and pull people when they're just not ready, just because I want more, probably more than them.
Right.
And maybe not even more than them, more than they're feeling like confident enough. And I can't give them any more than I already give.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, all you can do is just love them for
Where they're at, who
yeah.
they are right now. And I just have to hope and pray that they one day take that. It's all I feel like I'm a visual person, like just take that step out. Just step out and play in the water with me and and then do it again.
Are there patterns that you notice when you say step out? Go ahead if you need to take a minute too.
Sorry.
I love this. This is the definition of like a woman who does it all.
Right, go down and get Teddy quick. Mummy's on the phone, quick. Go.
It's so raw. It's great. Are there patterns that you notice people like how do you almost take the people who are ready or what are the actions that they take to step out? Like when somebody might feel within themselves, I know there's more within me, like how do I break free? It's like cool. I know that, but now what?
It's what I found. I'm like when I look and I've got a new person who's just joined my business and they just take the action. And I think that was very much what I was like. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing right now, but I'm gonna go and give it a go. Like, did I do it right? I don't even know, but I'm gonna go. And then when I fall, I get back up. And I think that's for me, if I see a leader who's propelling, is like it's just taking that step, like just taking steps and versus people who got it but just sit there and it's like I'm too scared to take a step. And I think that's the difference in people who propel a little bit quicker, in my personal opinion, is if they just take the step and fail forward, just like, all right, that sucks, that post sucks, I look like it, you know what I mean? But it's that taking the step and going, how can I get better now? And taking the next step, what do I do to get better? How do I, what have I got to listen to and all that stuff? Because you find so many people, they turn up to all the trainings or they're doing all the growth and they're doing all the podcasts, but they're just still there and they're not where they want to be or where they deserve to be. And then I just honestly feel like just step up, just, just have your say. Like, what have you got to, I know this is how I visualize it, is like they've got something burning to say, like, I think it should be like this. When you're in a group and you're so scared to say something, and I feel like they're so scared to say how they really feel because they might be wrong or they might say, what was she saying? And I feel like if you just started doing that, this should be like this color or that could be like that, you just build confidence and that gives you to the next step and the next step. So yeah, I think that's the biggest thing in, moving forward and, it's just take a step and just see how it goes. And it feels like shit, of course, just keep going to the next and next. And
right. Just take a little uncomfortable action. Not even about like striving. You said fail forward, right? Like, I love that. Yeah.
Just fail forward. Like I just, visualize, like just fall over and just get back up again and just fall over. And, I think that's what a lot. I see so many women just sitting back and I just feel like just step up and just go forward.
Yeah.
Before you fall.
Would you say this has always been you? Like you've always had this really strong sort of sense of self, or did you go through like a stage and really developed it? Was there a turning point or were you born this way?
Definitely, there was probably some turning points in there, but I think again, my upbringing and everything like that, you kind of have this inner, like I've I've got no choice but to raise my brother who's 13 and I'm 15. Like, you know, so I always had that. What's wrong, Bob?
I didn't take me.
Is it?
I didn't find TV on.
Yeah, have this one. There you go.
Hey.
Whatever it takes. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, I think I remember when I read the book The Slight Edge. I think that was a
You
yeah.
gave me that one, and I have told so many people about it. So thank you so much, because that
Yeah.
has stuck with me too. And I explained this slight edge, and I'm like,
And
yes,
I just think that was for me, like maybe I've always had that, like you've got to go, like you have no choice, Mel. Like you can't sit there and play. I've always had that, but the Slight Edge was probably a turning point where I remember where I was like, this is the gap. Like it's that 1% of doing that, failing forward,
Right.
making that one step, right? Yeah, and obviously there's heaps of other things along the way, but it definitely wasn't like this as I am today. But yeah, stuff like the Slight Edge was.
yeah, that's a good book. I love that one.
Yeah,
I
same.
have it at home. I think you wrote a really sweet message in it, so thank you.
Aww.
Yeah, I know, very wholesome. What do you get down on yourself, or are you pretty past that? Like, if so, when you have little moments of not weakness but vulnerability, or like what occurs in those down moments, and then how do you move through them?
They're a lot quicker than they used to be. I think I used to disappear for days, maybe weeks. I call my best friend Katina. I think she's probably one of the biggest people who can get me up and out. But you know, I I I ask why me? Like I think I go into this space of like, why me? Like, am I not good enough? Am I not like her? Will it ever happen to me? Like all those, I guess, general things. And I have a little pity party, but it's not, I don't know, it just doesn't fit well. And then I'm like, this other voice goes to me, but you know it's not true. Like I just have this inner war. So I do have pity parties. I don't know how long they last for. And half the time it's me getting it off my chest. And I'm like, I know. When she tells me it's not true, I'm like, I already know this. I know. And it's just like, I do have the pity parties, and I go into the space of like, maybe I'm not meant to be successful. Maybe it's not meant to be for me. Or sometimes I feel like I'm at this peak, like just there, the top of the mountain's there, and I'm just so close, and I'm like just trudging. And I'm like, will I ever get to the top? And kind of this is the, you know, I guess the entrepreneur mindset is like, are you ever going to get to the top? But then what is the top? Where does the top end? You're just going to create more, right? So these are these stories that I have in my head. I'm like, but when you get to the top, Mel, you're probably going to create another business and you want to do something else. And then like, yeah.
Yeah, that's something I was saying to somebody the other day too, because I realized I've always, like, when I look at my track record, I've always reached my goal, and then I set a new goal. So it was like, if I'm always striving for the future is just another present moment. So I'm going to be feeling however I'm feeling now. And I know that I'm never going to be satisfied, because I'm just not built like that. Even if I have everything in the world, I don't think that's possible for me. So I need to learn to like love where I'm at while striving for more.
Which you exactly where you're meant to be, right?
Yes, yeah. Because I think, just like, as I don't know if we're built different or whatever it is, but there's just this level of like unsatisfaction. Not that you're unhappy about it, but just you want to be better and into your potential.
Yeah. It's like you get there and you're like, oh, this is not what I expected. And it's like, I guess, what do they call it? It's that success triad, right? Like,
Yeah.
and oh, this is not what I thought it was going to be. Like, where's the height? Where's the balloons kind of thing?
Yeah. What what like how do you measure kind of success for yourself? You know, how do you check in a weird, I know that's not the best question, but how do you almost like keep yourself, it's more of a mental game, I guess, of like, to go, oh yeah, no, I am like exactly where I'm meant to be. Is there, like, what do you actually do around that?
You know what? It's just the small things. I kind of sometimes look at my life and it's just like, you know what? This time last year or wherever, I was like, I couldn't afford to pay for that. Like, it's just these small little things. I'm just like, that was easy. I'll just pay for that. And I think that's, for me, like coming from broke, looking for money to pay for dinner, and I'm like, I'll just pay. Like, I think that's probably my biggest check-in daily is like, you've come so far. And I just, yeah, that's it. I just see every day there's something that comes in. I'm like, 2 years ago, Mel, you would never have been able to just pay for that. Like, and I think that's my check-in daily is like, you've come so far, and that's my measure. It's like, I don't even have a success like, tick, you've made this much money, or you're sitting here in your business. It's like, you've come so far and you should be proud of yourself. And I feel gratitude every moment when that moment pops up.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a beautifully simple, like easy thing to remember daily.
Yeah.
So true.
It's something daily, like, and there's something daily that always pops up. And I just think, you've got to be proud of yourself now.
Thanks. I had another question, but it just sort of slipped my mind here. What are values that you live by, or like a mantra that you say to yourself? Is there one specific one that stands out, or just like what is repeating in your head every day?
I'm abundant, and I'm worthy, and I deserve success.
So affirmations.
Yeah, affirmations. Yeah, they're probably my 3 affirmations. And I feel I kind of live by being loyal. I feel like I'm very loyal as well. So I don't know if that fits in there. I kind of like, yeah.
Almost like loyal to your schedule too, in a way, besides
loyal, like, if I say I'm going to do something, I like to try and live up to it as much as close as possible, and give it a red hot crack. And it comes down to helping you out and having appointments and all those kind of things. I don't like, it's not like I don't like letting people down, but I just like to, if I say I'm going to do it, and if it helps benefit other people, I want to be there as well. So yeah.
Do you have like a personal mission statement? or how how does that work? What's your mission every day? Because you are so driven. I don't think you even recognize how much you do, because you're just doing it and you've been doing it your whole life. But I'm like, there must be something in you that's like pulling you at this point. What is that?
Right, I turn it down for 1 sec. I think, like I was thinking, I saw like a post today, and it's like, I think I just have an intention of to have, and as I said earlier, it's probably my downfall. It's like, I want the best for other people. Like, I really want other people to succeed. I really want people to have that moment of like, wow, 2 years ago I couldn't have that. Like, I want people to live their healthiest life. Like, I want people to have the energy that I have, and I know people can have it. And I think that's my motto. It's like, I want the best for other people, and
Yeah. No, I love that. It's so genuine. Like, speaking to you, it's not like I've got this and I want to do this. You're just like, I'm here helping, try to live my best life, like doing everything. But you bring along so many other people on the journey, and it's so beautiful to watch. So thank you for having the courage. Yeah. What is there to young entrepreneurs or even mothers? Maybe one for each, because they're two very different things, but very valid. What would you like say to somebody at the beginning?
Both the same. Never give up. So cliche, but it's just, and because I see so many just quit, it's like it gets tough, and I think we all have something going on, like, and life doesn't stop. And I feel like, as an entrepreneur, you have to work through the mud, because when you start entrepreneurship, there's no doubt your bath will fill up with mud and you'll get stuck. And if you don't keep working through it, you'll never grow and you will never succeed, or, be as successful as you'd like to be. But if you just keep trudging through it, eventually the mud will dry up and you'll be able to run, it'll be grass, and you'll be able to sprint. And I think I hate watching people get stuck in the mud, and it's because it rained or the grandfather died, and I get it, but I've been through it all. If you just keep turning up for yourself every day, live, you'll live the life that you want. Yeah.
One other thing I realized we didn't touch on. Thank you so much. That's beautiful. I like the visual of like sprinting through the grass. That's a really good one to have. What do you do in your relationship, like partner, to maintain that love and bond? Or what does that dynamic look like if it's so natural by now?
I think interesting. For a while I was on my own part. Like I kind of try to, it's like trying to lead people to, and I think your partner's the hardest. You want them to be the best. Rhoda, can you not?
What?
I'm talking. It's doing part sounds. Can you go away? Thanks.
No.
Thank you. Turn it down. Mummy's on the phone. I'm nearly finished. I know. We can hear it. That's funny. Go show and for so long, I wanted him to live this healthy lifestyle and, and in the end, I was just like, I'm putting, again, so much energy in this and it's hurting myself more than him. So I just kind of did my own thing and I just let him, and then eventually they catch up and caught up. And for us, he had to grow. He had to catch up. He had to dive into some personal development and understand the gratitude, waking up with, grateful heart. And I think the first thing for him to learn was gratitude. So the past 2 years, he's learning everything. Like he says, I'm so grateful for you. And like for him, that's coming from a city like wild boy, he's like, that's big for someone. Right. So having him on that path, we kind of now talk the same language. And that's hard in a relationship, I think, because again, I've heard so many women, they're starting to grow and their partners get there and but yeah, we've been fortunate enough where he's, he chose to start to learn, the gratitude and, all that stuff. So
that was patience from your end then, a choice to be patient, I guess, right?
Yeah, and patience definitely. And it's kind of like, I just went to a point, it was like, I'm going this way, and if you want to catch me, you can, but I'm going to go. And I don't know where that meant if he didn't stay the course, but that's where I knew where I was headed. Like I just knew this is my path. I need to keep growing. This is how I help people. This is the way. And he just decided to play the game and catch up. And now here we are and we talk the same language. And I think I'm very grateful for that because I was worried, like, I'm here and you're back here. And it's like, how does this have this connection?
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, thank you for being so open and honest. I think that's really nice to know, even in new relationships, like there's space for flow in and out. And
and I had to respect, like I had to respect, like, and it's not like we didn't get along. We got along great, but in that space, like I was like talking a different language to him, and it was just like he just chose to catch up. So I was just like,
Well, thank you so much. I have so many other questions, but I know you have a family and it's getting late, so I wanted to say thank you for your time. And Rhoda's, I love it.
Thanks for having me. Sorry about family and everything.
Don't be. This is what I love most about it. Where can people find you to reach out if they want to get into Arbonne or learn about health and wellness? Like, what's the best way?
Instagram. So inspired.by.mel.
Okay.
Instagram.
I'll put it at the bottom here too. Okay. But, oh, good. Thank you so much, Mel. This was.
Are you coming to Australia anytime soon?
You know what? Actually, my aunt just texted. I've been wanting to, like, I was planning maybe 2025 or 2026, and I'm trying to think, okay, how can I make work out of it? So I'm trying to get my art into a gallery there so I can go on behalf and like go for a month, paint, and then have an exhibition. So my aunt texted me this morning at 5 a.m. being like, I spoke to a gallery for you. So I'm hoping within the next maybe 18 months realistically. But I know, I feel it I'm like just called to be back.
I agree. It'd be good to catch up. I've got another retreat next year too. So if it's in